Ladies and gentlemen, the questions you've all been asking are now being answered. Welcome to another edition of It's All About Who You Know, the podcast where influential people talk big topics in sports, faith, and more. Your host is a former Oregon State wrestler. He has a 4.9-star Uber rating and is currently undefeated in his MMA career. Here is Christian Robertson.
Oh, nice.
Don't play with the Batman, dude.
No, I'm like, yeah, he's like trying to sit him up. He's like laying down. You can't have Batman laying down.
Yeah, I got one microphone, so that's it. Actually, this is actually really cool because it has multiple settings. So, like the setting it's on right now is for multiple people to be talking.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
You want to hear a funny story?
What's going on?
Okay, so I flew to California the other day, and I'm going to use some profanity. I normally don't, but I'm going to use some profanity in this.
I use a lot of profanity. So
I know you do. Did you want anything to drink? You said
no.
Okay, you're good.
I just chugged the
shit. The water here will make you crap your pants.
Yeah,
so
that's nice.
It's I have to filter it. So anyway, I fly in. I was flying into California, and there's this deaf couple, and they've got their kid with them, and I knew they were deaf because they brought too many bags, and they didn't pay for the bags. So this big debacle. They don't know what the person's saying. The person is kind of yelling at him, which was awkward for me. I was like, "What? Do I step in?" I mean,
that's better. They're deaf. Yell out.
It's man, I know, right? It's like when somebody's speaks another language and you just start being louder. Yeah. But it's like, no.
Do you understand? That doesn't actually.
They don't understand you at all.
No, it's just threatening.
So anyway, they have to get a translator. They get this lady's I'm guessing it was her sister or something, or cousin, ghetto cousin, and she's pissed off at the dude. He's the flight attendant. He's talking at her. They're yelling at each other. It's real awkward. They got a kid with them. So anyway, I don't know what all happens. I get on the plane. They come on the flight, and this is so funny. They got a 2 or 3 year old kid, and they we're landing. We're about to land. The captain gets on the intercom make sure you got your mask on. Yada yada yada. We're about to land, and you just hear this 2-year-old kid. Parents obviously can't hear. Shut the fuck up! Just screaming it. And he doesn't say it once. He's shut the fuck multiple times. At least 4 or 5 times. Everybody is looking at the child except the parents because they are clueless.
It's fucking brilliant.
I was like, oh, well, I wonder who we learned that from. Had to be the aunt because I was like, somebody needs to talk to
you're sitting there, do we say something? Or just let it go? Just let that fucking kid go.
Oh my gosh, it was hilarious. The funniest thing.
I would have to just laugh and let it go.
And I'm
for you, kid.
I've got cousins that are that age, and I'm I know he knows what he's doing.
Oh, he knows.
He knows 100% what he's doing.
Because he's seen it. Somebody's don't say that. So he's yeah, I put that shit in my back pocket.
Yeah.
Good for that kid. That kid's going places.
I thought so. Were you like that?
That kid's going places. He's already learned that you gotta store some stuff, and then he knows his parents aren't gonna get mad at him. They can't hear him.
Right.
What better time could you have done to do that? On a plane, your parents are next to you. They can't hear you. People can't leave. You can't really make a scene on a plane. So
right. What are they gonna spank me on a plane?
Yeah, that kid.
Don't know who the crowd is.
That kid planned that well.
I think it was third degree vulgarism. If that's a thing.
That shows some initiative. Hats off to that kid.
Third degree is intended?
I don't know.
Who knows?
I have to look it up.
We'll ask Sean. Yeah. Sean will know exactly.
We'll know that offhand too.
He'll start.
Vast repository of useless fucking knowledge.
How do you know Sean? Just from fighting? Did you train at Couture before?
No. So Sean and I met in California when I trained at Team Quest, and Sean trained at Team Quest, and that's when we met about. What am I there?
Because I met Sean at King's. That's when I first met Sean.
Yeah, I met him at Quest. We've known Sean about 6 or 7 years now.
Okay.
So we met at Quest originally.
Are you from King? Or from California?
I'm from Ohio. So I initially left Ohio and trained in California.
Gotcha.
And that's where I met Sean. I was living with Sam Alvey, actually. That's where I met Sean. And then he was the first one to bring me to Vegas. And when I got signed to PFL, I moved to Vegas with my then girlfriend. She was already out here.
Okay.
So I moved out here. And then Sean was like, well, fuck it. I'll just come to Vegas. So he followed me to Vegas.
So when did this happen? 2 years ago?
2019. Yeah. So PFL,
3?
Yeah, 3 years ago now. Yeah. So I came out. I came to Vegas, and Sean came out here from my camp.
Gotcha.
Because he'd come out here a few times, to train, whatever. But for my PFL camps, he was out here. And he was like, fuck it. And then I ended up getting a different place.
Okay.
And I had an extra bedroom, so Sean just lived in the extra bedroom. Like, yeah.
Gotcha.
And he was just here. So he got his own place, and he just stays here.
Was it?
We just travel in pairs.
Was it? A little weird.
Yeah, right.
Was it a step up from his MTV Cribs showcase that he did the other
Because my
day?
house had furniture. Like, oh my god. So you don't understand. Like, Sean.
He's proud of it too.
You don't get though. The version he showed was like version 3.0. Because for the longest time, Sean had a chair. It was like a chair with like a table, like a dinner table with like a tray table in front of it. And that was it. That was all the furniture he had. It was a chair and a tray table.
Oh my gosh.
Where he ate at. That was it. So like the fact that he's got like a bed with a frame, like a couch now, is an upgrade because like Sean had a chair and a table for the longest.
It's funny because like I don't know what he pays for that place. I'd imagine it's like not crazy.
No, it's like I think it's like 18 like that. So it's like
Okay.
16, like 16, 18. I looked it up that place as well. A place over there as well.
After this last fight, I think he's a millionaire now.
Sean's also like a dragon to where he hoards all of his money like gold in the cave.
Yeah.
Like
He's Smaug. That's a way better nickname than Tarzan.
I have
Sean Smaug.
I have Genghis.
Genghis?
Sean Strickland.
Yeah, and like
Yeah, Genghis Sean is the greatest name ever, and I'm gonna make him use Genghis Sean.
Genghis Sean, that's a good one. I hope in 200 years, 1 in 200 people can't trace their lineage back to Sean.
No,
'Cause
it's
the human
not.
race will not survive.
God, I think like half, like in the next like 10 years, half of Vegas will be like polluted with Sean's DNA. That dude's something else.
Oh my
But
gosh.
no, I think Genghis Sean would be great.
Genghis Sean Strickland.
Genghis
That's actually
Sean.
really good.
Right? Like it's one of my best ones I've come up with.
That's funny. Remember how we were talking about how we should get Francis to do what's the Detroit Urban Survival?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Did you see Joaquin?
Yeah, God, I saw
Okay, I had it. I was gonna pull it up. You saw him on there, right?
I haven't watched the video where he does the kick, but I saw that he's got the guy in his corner, and I'm like, fucking Buckley, man.
He's doing like the arm thing, right?
Is he? I haven't watched the video. I just saw they said that he's having him in his corner, but they told me there's a video.
Here, I'll pull it up because I had it up.
Oh god.
It's so funny. Oh my gosh.
Guys, Joaquin Buckley is also ridiculous. Like that dude is just.
Now he just moved here, didn't he?
He's just training out here for his fight.
Okay.
He's still back home. He'll be out here more, but like, I love Joaquin Buckley because he's a fucking fool, man.
Oh my gosh. It was. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. Try not to. I literally just set this studio up though, so I'm doing some big things here. I think I'm gonna have guys come over and do like fight companions or something like that.
Oh god, there it is.
Yeah,
oh
here we
my
go.
God.
If you're listening,
Is he really doing this?
Oh my gosh, this is horrible.
We can't teach you to dance, but it
Ad.
can help you make a great impression for free. As you type, Grammarly ensures you come across.
So if you're just listening, we're pulling up a video of our teammate, our friend, whatever. More his friend.
Where is this at?
I would imagine it's in Detroit.
Yeah, 'cause I just saw Buckley like 2 days ago. And he fights this weekend.
Which makes me free. Okay. And we go into superior positions.
Detroit Urban Survival is not even in Detroit.
It's not where I want to be when I found out.
What is happening?
And I just got my wrist free, you go like this, and then you got knocked out. So we want to go from here into a superior position so we can make decisions. Like, hey, sir, don't touch me. Right.
So the worst part is this guy's like a paratrooper rescue. He's like pararescue special forces.
He's legit.
Yeah, he's legit like pararescue. Like those are bad dudes. They pararescue.
I think because I would have no idea about the weapons stuff. I wonder. This is so ridiculous. Watch, he taps.
Just I am so upset by that. Like Joaquin's an idiot too. He like that dude's one of the funniest dudes to run into, so it makes sense. But it's just crazy this entire like Detroit urban survival thing. Like, cause I think he was definitely like a legit paratrooper, and then like I think he started when he was serious. He's got to know he's a meme now. He's just going with it.
Has to. Well, some of this stuff's just like. Have you seen the one where he's like, when you're fighting 10 people? It's like, first of all,
Yeah, like-
you're gonna die unless you have a gun.
Go fight 10 people.
Second of all, the way he does it.
He's like wait out my breath. Not how it works.
I was like, what is this, a video game?
I've been in fights where it was like me versus 4 people, and like the rule of me is at 4 people you're in trouble. You versus 3 people, you can kind of control what's happening a little bit.
You know what you're doing.
At 4 people, you start like now, like all directions are covered. Like you've made a mistake. Like you're not gonna be able to wing chun somebody and like jump around a guy's side. Like they're gonna stomp you out. Oh my god. My favorite one was the kick. We have the kick catch.
Oh my god! On the floor.
Some soccer kicks too. Like, I'm like, okay. So in slow motion, I can see it. But if someone's running up to kick you with full force, it's gonna shatter your arm as you reach to stop my kick.
An arm. I mean, one arm. Especially he showed it with like one arm.
He's like ankle and like shin and like levers it down.
Yeah.
But I'm like in real life, if I stop you with my hand on your ankle and my forearm on your shin, and you're really soccer kicker, you're gonna shatter my thumb's gonna shatter and my forearm's gonna shatter.
Yeah, like the ulna or whatever.
No, it's gonna completely.
The tibia, like the tibia is the second second hardest bone in the body.
It's gonna go crush. My thumb's gonna be like hanging off, and my forearm's just gonna be in like 6 pieces.
We need to get Francis to pretend to be like Detroit Urban Survival. And then he's just like got a fake mustache and just smokes somebody in the face.
This really should be. Wait a minute. I'm gonna talk about when Francis gets back. I'm gonna ask him because this does seem like something we should be pursuing more.
Where's he at?
Probably in Africa, I assume.
Is he?
He usually goes home after he fights. Yeah.
Gets a little extra.
Sees his family and he's got 2 bum knees right now, so he can't really train anyway. So I might as well go see your family.
Golly, is he gonna have to get surgery? I'm guessing. Well, we don't need to get.
I don't know. Like,
yeah.
Fuck, you do that on 2 bum knees. I'm like, all right, shit, badass. Like,
golly, I was surprised, especially like with wrestling. Like you would think if he's got 2 messed up knees, he would.
Last thing you want to do is wrestle. And he's like, oh, by the way, wrestling clinic.
Yeah, good for him.
Yeah, right. I'm like, hey, way to go. Like it worked.
It was great. Yeah, that was the thing. And I don't know why Cyril went for that ankle lock because I feel like Francis got his knee torn in the ankle
Brendan
lock.
Allen tried to ankle lock me, and I was like, why would you try to ankle lock me right now? It was the strangest thing ever.
It's not a high percentage move.
I don't know. It's very hard to finish an ankle lock in the UFC. I think like once most of the, I don't know, like now like a lot of people get signed early, but I think like most experienced people aren't going to tap to an ankle lock. I'm like, yeah, like Brendan Allen had it in deep, and like my foot popped like 8 times. He like sprained 2 ligaments in my foot. But I'm like, okay, but I'm not gonna tap. Like I'll just deal with like the messed up foot later. But like, you're not gonna tap me for my pain. So if I'm not in danger of like actually breaking something, I don't really care. Like,
right. Well, that's one of those moves that you have to be careful to tap in practice.
Well, yeah, and the thing is, like, it's gonna hurt. Like, it's gonna hurt. And in practice, you don't want to walk around the rest of the week with like, a sore foot, like a torn tendon.
Right.
But in a fight, like, I'm not gonna lose money over a tendon in my foot. Like,
Is there any circumstance in a fight where you would tap to that? If it was like a low-level fight, or would you be less tempted to tap in a low-level fight?
So, this arm doesn't bend anymore because I got snapped in a low-level pro fight. I didn't tap.
Really?
I got belly down arm barred, and he snapped my arm. I didn't tap.
That's why when you do the action man pose,
it's
always...
like this way. I just see like this one.
Here, let's give it to the camera.
Yeah, like that one doesn't bend. It doesn't bend at all. That's the straightness of that arm. I got snapped in a low-level pro fight. I made like $800. I won the fight, but like I didn't tap. I probably should have tapped, but like. So on an armbar, if I'm not gonna tap to an armbar for like $800, you're not gonna tap me to an ankle lock,
right?
For a couple I'm fighting for like 40 grand and like 50 grand, 60 grand. There's no way.
Yeah. Now, how long were you in the PFL?
Just a year, 2019 season. Just that 1 year.
Now, did you go to the PFL before or after Contender Series?
It was after. So not getting signed to the UFC, I was kind of just like heartbroken and crushed and everything. Sure. I didn't know what I wanted to do if I was going to keep going. And then I got the opportunity. I got the call. Excuse me. I'm really tired today. It's been a long day.
No worries.
I got a call about a PFL. And I wasn't going to do it originally. I didn't want to do it because I was still thinking I'm going to make this UFC shot. So I originally, when I offered it to me, I didn't want to do it. And I was really hesitant about it. I was just like, I don't want to My fear was, okay, I can make $1 million, yes, but if I don't make $1 million and I fuck up in PFL, then I completely ruin my UFC chances forever. So I was like not really keen on doing it. But then I was like, you know what? I've got like no money in the bank right now. I'm burning through all my money. I should probably go do something. So we'll go do PFL.
Do you do anything else on the side before you got signed to the UFC?
No, it's train and fight, man. That's it. That's all I do is I train and fight. Just train and fight.
Paycheck to paycheck, huh?
Yeah, right. Like living that fighter life, and it
you
just
go.
sucked though because try to put up what you can. But I have a son, so like as he gets older, it gets more expensive, and you're just like, man,
Right.
start paying for things and like,
Yeah. Now how did your PFL run go?
not great. First fight was wonderful, man. Like
2-1? Was it 2-1?
1-2, 1-3 actually.
Oh my goodness.
So I've never, until that point, I've never lost 2 fights in a row.
Holy
Ever.
cow.
And I went on a 3-fight skid, and it was just because I beat Andre Fialho, then I lost the decision to Magomed. But the way the point system works was losing that decision, Magomed meant we would be rematching in the semifinals.
Magomed
Karamov.
Okay, Karamov. Okay.
So we fought again. I lost another decision again. So it's funny. So the first fight was 3 rounds. And it was kind of weird for me because I was so used to fighting 5-round fights at that point.
Right.
So like, okay, 3 rounds. So the first fight was 3 rounds. And he's gassed and he's just injured into the fight. And I'm like, fuck, if I had one more round, I could beat him. So the next fight, we're like, okay, we got to get faster. And like starting faster. But the semifinals were only 2 rounds. 2-round fights.
Really?
Yes. So I lose a decision to him and get in the semifinals, but he's too injured to continue. So I'm like, had it been a 3-round fight, I would have gotten, he wouldn't have been able to continue anyway.
So he couldn't even move on to the
No,
finals.
because he was too hurt.
So do they not bump you?
So what happened was, after that fight, I'm like in the back. I'm changed already. I had a freak out. I fucking like lost my mind. Like, just like I've ruined everything.
Right.
So I finally get changed. I already feel kind of emotional breakdown. And like I'm about to, I'm about to leave. I'm grabbing some sandwiches and stuff to eat on the way back to the hotel. So I've got like this like chicken and waffle sandwich in my hand. I'm walking out and Red Sapphire runs up. I missed that sandwich.
That sounds so good.
It was the best chicken and waffle. It's the best looking chicken and waffles I've ever had, and I've been able to eat. And I was like furious.
Oh, you couldn't eat it?
No, but Ray Seppo runs up and he's like, "Hey, Magomeds can't continue. You got to go back out." So I'm like dressed and on my way out. Like,
Wait, what do you mean you got to go back out? Like that night?
Fight? Yeah, that night.
Wait, so PFL does multiple fights in one night?
Yeah, so the semifinals are 2 fights in one night.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So
Look at me, I don't even know my own sport.
Right. So in 10 minutes I was wrapped and walking out.
Holy shit.
Yeah, so it was just the fight against Cooper sucked because I just wasn't ready, man.
You just
like,
were done.
I was like mentally like, oh shit, like this is not like I wasn't in it. And like the first round, I heard him the first round twice, but didn't follow up. I'm just kind of like, it's weird because I still remember that fight from third person. Like I wasn't fighting, I was watching myself fight. And you're just like, ugh, this is never a good sign. You're not in the moment.
Right.
So that's actually my only knockout loss was second round to Ray Cooper. He caught me with I threw a hook and he threw a cross and he landed first and fucking slept me. It was the only time I've ever been knocked out. I'm just like, oh, you motherfucker. So that sucks. The only time I've ever lost, I lost 3 fights skid. I never even lost 2 fights in a row before that point. So like, yeah.
Man. So, okay, so were you like, are you serious?
Uh-oh.
1 second.
Trouble.
It's just Amazon.
Woo! Amazon.
Okay, so if you guys are listening, I just had a package. So I've got like the world's worst neighbor. Oh, it's my chin cup for my wrestling headband.
Oh, nice. There you
I've
go.
got the world's worst neighbor. The downstairs neighbor is like an evil person. Anytime I walk, she just starts flipping out, cussing, banging on the ceiling. Like she's unstable. Like legitimately like ridiculous.
Is she old?
No, like 40, 45 maybe. She's not like, it's weird. I mean, she came up here the first time I met her.
She's just single and lonely, I'm guessing, it seems like.
Well, I almost wonder, did like the attitude come before the singleness, or did the singleness come? I'm guessing it's a mixture of both. I'm guessing she's a really hard person to be around. And then the fact that nobody wanted to be around her made her even harder to be around. So it's like this vicious cycle.
You're nicer than me. I'd be tap dancing. We got hardwood floors. I'd be tap dancing on this bitch all the time.
I do. Yeah, when she yells, I'm just like, da-da-da-da-da.
I would tap dance around. I would wake up in the morning and just start tap. Oh, I've ruined her life.
Yeah, it's bad. And she'll like, I mean, I have my cousins over here. They're 6 and 8. And she'll like, she knows that they're over here. And she'll just start cursing at us. Like, F you, mother effer. And it's like, lady, what is wrong with you? So I thought that's what was going on right there. But
we should like invite her on the show and be like, what's wrong? Like, who hurt you?
yeah, just put like some glasses on.
Who did this to you?
Like, just have a notebook with my legs crossed.
Yeah, I would. You know,
She could sit on the couch over there. Yeah.
just see what happened. Just see what happened.
Yeah, like what happened?
There's got to be a story behind it.
Why do you spend Thanksgiving and Christmas alone? I want to know. I feel bad for you.
Oh, talk to me. I'm here for you.
I've got UFC fighters coming to my house for podcasts. You can't be doing this.
No, we should have this talk. I want to be a part of this.
Yeah. Well, so one time I went down there. This is so funny because she's banging on my ceiling, like no warning. No, she came up here one time, came halfway up the stairs with her mask on, yelled at me and my cousins. It was like, I know you got kids, but all this. I mean, it was ridiculous. Ever since then, it's like no holds barred. She just starts flipping out, cussing me out, like. And so one time I go down there and I'm like knocking on the door. She's like, go away, F you, mother F. And I'm like, hey, can you stop banging on my floor? And she's like, you come down here with your no mask and your coronavirus. And I was like, my coronavirus? Like, did I invent it? I don't know.
I want to meet this woman now. I have so many questions.
Just go talk to her afterwards.
I honestly may. Like, I'm that guy. I'm like, you know what? I have questions. I want to know what's happening.
You guys might be a cute couple, honestly.
God, no, I just want to know who hurt her. Like, who did this?
Yeah.
Did you do this? Like,
I didn't do it.
I mean, did she do this to herself and now she's lashing out? Or like,
I have no idea. It's really sad.
Dude, there's a story here we're not getting that we really should be.
It's hard for me when like somebody is so bad that I almost like am reluctant to even pray for them. And that's when I know I gotta check my own heart. It's like you're messed up, Christian.
You may be a lost cause. Like, you shouldn't be, but
it's tough. But so back to your fight. So PFL happens. You fight 6 times last year.
Yeah, I was a busy run, dude. So I was getting up 30. I was like, 34, and I was like, all right, man. So I took my manager, Lance, and I was like, all right, I'm either gonna get signed this year, or
go for broke.
I'm just gonna end on a 10-fight win streak and be done with it. So I couldn't leave PFL with like a 3 skate, like 3.
I want to talk about that too.
Yeah. I couldn't leave the sport with like a 3-fight skid as the last thing people see.
Right.
I had 1 fight the year before that, but I didn't want to be like 1-4 in my last 5 fights before I like walk, or 2-3 in my last 5 fights. So we were like, okay. So we decided that we'd try to get 10 fights this year. It was the goal. I wanted 10 fights last year. we had like so many schedules, stuff kept falling through. But I was like, I'll get 10 fights.
Oh, you were trying to get 10?
I was trying to. I was really trying to. We got 6, but we had like probably 11 or 12 scheduled last year.
Oh my gosh, that's some overtime.
And I was gonna run through it, and I was like, I'm gonna beat everyone I can find, because at one point, like if you look on Tapology, I was the #1 ranked guy in the U.S., Canada, and South America in 2 weight classes. For like 3 weight classes actually last year.
Not in
but
the
before
UFC.
that, yeah, and not in a major organization. So I was like, I'm either going to get all these fights or I'm going to get signed. So we got to 4, and not what I wanted, but then the UFC call came. And we're like, oh, fuck it, well, let's go. And so, we got the optimal outcome, if you will. Like, we got signed, and then good start to the UFC run. So last year was a good year. I went from completely broke to like having 6 figures in the bank. So I'm like, holy shit.
That's so crazy. I tell people this story all the time. Obviously, I don't know what your numbers are, but I tell people, I'm like, dude, I got a buddy, Chris, who I say had, I don't know what, like I said, I don't know what the numbers are, but I'm like, he probably had like 10 grand in the bank.
For 10 grand, dude. So when I got signed to the UFC, by the time I had my first fight, I had $10 to my name.
Holy cow.
I had $10 to my name. I was like, holy shit, I'm down to like $10 in my bank account.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, man, this is rough. And now I've got like 6 figures in my bank, kind of just sitting. I'm like, holy shit, like, what do I?
Like, what do I do?
But I had $10 to my name, like, by the time I had my first fight. And I was like, wow, I am really, really, really. It couldn't have come at a better time because I was like,
I would say so. $10.
I was like,
you
man,
can't imagine that. You get one hand down at El Cortez for $10.
We can make this work. I was stretching it. Like, yeah, man. And I really had $10 in the bank. It was rough.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
So I was 1,000% off.
Oh, yeah. That would have been my final 10 grand. Like, 10 grand in the bank, like, if I could live on that, it'd be like fine. I'd be fine for like another year. Could live cheap, like, man.
Yeah. Now, are you a pretty lavish guy? You live a lavish lifestyle, or
Oh God, no!
It's just you. That's all you do is fight, and you don't. You
I
got
fight.
child support and stuff.
No, I don't have any child support. Like,
okay.
So my son, like, his mom is like my best friend still.
Oh, good.
So, like, after PFL, when I had money in the bank, whatever, she actually got married. So my wedding gift to her was I bought her a wedding dress.
Oh wow.
So yeah, that was like, cause like her. So here's the thing. People are like, why would you do that? The internet's like, oh, you're a simp, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, you idiots. Like, look, you can, like, be friends with women and not, like, have to get, like, you know, you can do things for your friends. So here's the thing, though.
Sure.
When I first started fighting my first fight was 2 months after my son was born, I think.
Okay.
Or maybe like 2 weeks, it was like not even a month after my son was born. But from day one, his mom has been been supporting me, and like she's been my best friend. We got together when we were really young.
Right.
His mom and I. So as we got older, we just realized like we're two very different people.
Yeah. Sure.
And, so it's whatever. But she's still been my biggest supporter. Like everything. I was engaged for a long time with someone else, and when that stuff kind of went bad, she was there to help me kind of pick my life up and get back together. And pick my life up and everything and like get my shit together. So his mom's always been my best friend. When I first went pro, and I was like, I really want to do this. I want this to be my profession, everything. She was the one person who was like, I believe in you. So for me to go pro, I would need to train more. So I did 2 things. I quit school and I quit my job.
College or high school?
College.
Okay.
And his mom said, okay. She's like, I get it. This is what you want. This is what you love. I understand. So she kind of allowed me to quit my job, and she paid everything.
Oh, my gosh.
For a while. Like, everything was on her head so I can get ready to go pro. So I wouldn't even be a professional fighter had she not been like, okay, well, I'll shoulder this. Just go do, just go get ready. So for a long time, she paid everything because I was just training and then I went pro and I was making BS money. So
right.
She took care of everything and like she's been my best friend. She's been like my best friend for so long now. So I got her wedding dress.
That's really cool.
And then she has a son now, another son.
Okay.
And like it's my godson and like he's like I love that kid to death. Like I'm really good friends with her husband. So she's still like my best friend. So. Like, I lucked out. Like, I definitely lucked out on that one. Like, yeah.
That's cool, man. And definitely a unique situation. But a lot of people, man, it's better than the other way around. Where the parents hate each other.
Well, we decided, like, Chris is, like, such a good kid. And, like, and we didn't, like, do anything. Nothing terrible happened. We just realized that we're very, very different people.
Right.
Like, the things we want. Like, she wanted to settle down and, like, whatever. She wanted to have more kids, and I was kind of more focused on career stuff-wise.
Right.
Because we have two very different needs and, like, wants in our lives.
Right.
And we're like, okay, that's fine. Like, it doesn't have to be, like, a fight or that you hate each other. Like,
sure.
Like, I love Steph to death, and she loves me to death, and we just, want different things in life. So,
right.
It's great. But, like, I don't have child support. I don't live lavishly. Like, God, I still have the same car I had when I got to Vegas. I bought when I got here. Like, most of my expense bill comes from video games and food. Most of my expenses are video games and food. Outside of that, I don't do much. I train, I sleep, I play games, and I eat. That's it.
Now, do you have like a, because I know this is a big problem a lot of people face, especially like NFL players, people that come into large sums of money overnight. Do you have any kind of financial advisor or investment or anything?
My manager, Lance, actually doesn't allow me to spend money.
That's good.
And he tells like, you know, Lance's big thing is you live like you're poor still.
Okay.
So he's like, you live just like everything, nothing changes. Like,
Yeah.
you can rest easy knowing like you're not gonna starve. But he's like, you live like you're broke still. And for me, it's easy that way because like if there's something I really want or need, I can get it. But I'm not really a huge materialistic person.
Right.
Like every now and then there'll be something I really want, but like I'm more of a creature comforts guy. Like as long as I have like somewhere to live, and I've got my like, you know, like I've got my game, I've got my TV, my computer, and, you know, there's food in my fridge. I don't need to go I don't need to go buy cars. I don't buy clothes. I don't buy jewelry. Like, you know, I looked out because my girlfriend is like, you know, she's very successful. She makes more money than I do. But she's also just like, doesn't really need much. Like, we're both happy just kind of being at home, watching movies.
Minimalist kind of.
Yeah, it is. It's phenomenal because, you know, her biggest thing is, the only thing she spends money on is like she likes to cook for other people. So she'll like try to invite everyone over and like cook way too much food. But like she doesn't go out and do crazy stuff either. So, you know, we live a very simple life. And like for me, it's just easy. Like, especially being in Vegas, it's too easy to get pulled into that like circular cesspool, like drainage of like spending money, gambling, going out, you know, buying, you know, I don't really drink, I don't smoke. I mean, I drink very, very, very rarely. I don't smoke at all. I don't do drugs. Like I don't party.
Right.
I just exist. I train. I go home. That's it.
That's crazy because all I spend money on is food, and I'm still broke. So I don't know how does this work?
Well, it worked out now because I get free food from the PI. So like now I don't even really have a food bill unless there's like I want to go to the store and get something.
Right.
But like now, even with my regular meals, like shit, I went to the PI today. I ordered my food for the day. Then I got like the Icon meals for like all weekend. So I've got like a refrigerator full of Icon meals and like whatever. So yeah, like, even my food bill is now like next to nothing. I go out to eat like once a week, or I go to the store for like drinks and like waters and stuff. So my food bill is like next to nothing now. So like yeah, I just kind of don't need to spend money, so I just keep saving everything.
That's great. I didn't know the UFC gave you guys, and obviously that's only for the locals because they're the only ones that can get it.
Yeah.
Well, do they do discounts for Icon meals if you're in the UFC?
I think if you're in the UFC, I'm pretty sure you can have them sent to your house. You can have them shipped to your house, yeah, as a UFC athlete, yeah.
That's pretty cool.
But for like, there's an app on the phone on our phone to where we can, every day you can order food from the UFC to PI cafeteria.
Yeah.
And like they'll like have like all the menus and stuff.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've been in there.
Yeah, we have that, so you can order that on your phone, and like they just put it in the fridge for you, so you can order all your food for the day, and then you have Icon meals sent to you or take those. So yeah, it's super convenient.
Dude, that's like a way better DoorDash because you don't have to attach a credit card.
I don't gotta do anything. Like just show up, get your food, and go. You can order what you want. It's a very convenient system.
So when was your first fight in the UFC? I know who it was. It was against Phil. Do you like Phil?
I'm indifferent to Phil.
Okay.
I don't dislike him.
Okay.
I don't like. I mean, I don't have a problem with him. I don't think he likes me.
Really?
But like, I don't have a problem.
You punched him in the face kind of hard.
Well, he talked a lot of shit. Like.
Yeah.
He talked a lot of shit. I don't dislike Phil. Like, I like Brendan Allen. I talk to Brendan Allen all the time. We get along great. Like
really?
I love Brendan Allen. Like him and Sean have beef, but Sean has beef with everyone. So.
I was gonna say, man, like, because Kevin comes in the gym here and there, and it's like Kevin never comes in when Sean's in, and Sean's never there when Kevin's there, and it's a weird.
Sean has beef with many people.
I hate gym beef.
It's not so much gym beef. It's just Sean is like attacks people on a personal level consistently.
Yeah. Like Colby's the same way, and it's like, Colby, we wrestled at the same school. I like you.
I've met Colby a bunch. He's super nice.
Super nice guy.
Every time I met him, he's super great. I've been at the gym. He's been great. Like, yeah.
I don't know. Like, I'm still trying to figure out, is he like a con man, and he's got everybody in the same...
Colby's definitely... So here's what I tell people. Like, Colby's playing a character. Colby's admitted to playing a character.
Right.
Sean is Sean. He's like, Colby pretends to be an asshole. Sean's just an asshole. Like, yeah.
Oh, I like... Because I keep seeing Chael. I'm friends with Chael.
Okay.
And I keep seeing him because he's actually. I started training with Chael. Like he was one of the first guys. I was at Kings for a little bit where I go here and there. Munoz brought me in, but like I started training with Chael for like wrestling and stuff.
Oh, nice.
But he keeps talking about like how Sean is playing a character, and it's like, Chael, did you ever meet him?
No, I don't think he has. Like, it's definitely not a character. It's just how he is. Like he's been this way. You don't understand, guys. I've known Sean for like 6 years, maybe. And like we've gotten kicked out of like 3 gyms for fist fighting each other, to where like shit got real, gloves came off, and we got into like fist fights. And this has happened like 3 times. So this is just how Sean is. Like he's a very He's a very abrasive person.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, it's funny. He means, so at the end of the day, though, he means well. Like, dude will give you the shirt off his back. But he's going to talk shit about you the entire time he's giving you the shirt off his back.
Right, he's going to come to the gym the next day like, this pussy
Yeah,
needs
this
a shirt because he couldn't buy
needs a shirt. Yeah, but he'll definitely rub it in.
Because he's on drugs and stuff.
Yeah, it's just happens, man. When you're that unique of a person, you're not going to be for everybody.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, it's definitely just who he is, and like living with him. Oh my god! Like every time I'd be like laying in bed, I look up. He's like in my doorway drinking coffee. Hey Kurt, you know what your problem is? I was like, oh my god, what's my problem today, Sean?
What's my problem?
He's just that guy. But like, you know, it is what it is.
That was a really good impression.
Yeah, what your problem is? I'm like, oh, because I'm like. I was literally rolling over my bed. He's like in my doorway drinking coffee. He's always got coffee. He's like, you know what your problem is, Kurt? I'm like, oh my god, what's my problem, Sean? Like, well, what's my grand issue today? And he'll gladly tell you what your problem is. Like, he's not for everyone, but he means well.
I personally like Sean. You know, every once in a while, it's like, oh come on, man. But it's never like at me, so I'm like happy.
Yeah,
about that.
he's just talking you.
Yeah, he's like, come on, I'll go easy on you. I'm like, your easy is still like not
trying to cripple you for life.
Right. There's a gap, and you don't. And it's one of those things. It's like, especially for me being like newer, you know, trying to get my first fight. It's one of those things where I don't want to. It's weird, and I don't know if it's just me being a baby or what. And I'm sure you can relate to this, but like, you don't want to hit somebody so hard to where they're like, oh, now I got to beat the shit out of them.
Yeah.
Especially when you're not equipped. Like, I've got power and I've got wrestling. Sean's got power, wrestling, like
knowledge,
sociopathic tendencies, that's everything.
That's the thing when, you know, people don't like take into account like such. Like, well, then you don't spar Sean a lot, like not anymore. It's like, oh, why? I was like, because he's a fucking psychopath. And like for me, we both. Everybody, there's many different like theories of fighting. And I'll train hard, but I also don't need to be in a war every day.
Right.
Like, Sean doesn't believe in drilling. He just wants to go live or spar 24/7. And for him, it works great. I'm like, I'm 34, bro. Like, I don't heal the way I used to.
Right.
I gotta be a little bit smarter about, like, how much damage I take leading up to the fight. Because I just don't heal anymore. I'm getting older. Like, I stay sore for, like, days now.
Yeah.
People are like, you walk around like petrified wood. I'm like, yeah, I'm fucking 34, bro. Like,
right.
Like, I wake up feeling bad, and I feel bad throughout the entire day. It's just how I exist now.
Yeah.
So, you know, for me, I gotta be a little bit more careful. But he's definitely one of those guys who's just, people don't understand the superpower of being insane. And that's exactly what it is. It's a superpower. His psychopathy is a superpower that lets him do things he shouldn't be able to do just because he's just like, oh, I'm a pussy if I don't. I mean, that's not how that works, but like, okay. Like,
Dude, his promos that he cuts after these fights are some of the stuff he says. Oh, I think that maybe was my neighbor.
Oh, he's coming for the scream at us soon.
Some of the stuff he says, man. Like, what did he say?
I hear stairs. Like angry stepping.
I don't know.
I'm excited.
Her and Sean would be a good couple.
I'm excited to talk to her.
Yeah, she's never going to come up here. I'll just tell her I have COVID. She said something when she did say that. She was like, you come down here with your no mask and your coronavirus. And right off the bat, I was like, yeah, I'm not vaccinated either, but can you please?
It's my coronavirus.
Because I was like, what am I, Fauci? I didn't invent this thing.
He's over here like breathing in petri dishes. Like,
I know, right? I should like breathe in an envelope and like anthrax or something, you know? Here you go.
That's what you do, just breathing in. Oh, it's messed up.
Oh my gosh, I left her a note like, hey, I'm going to have people over. Can you not bang on my floor? Like, real nicely. She's like, yeah, if you don't sound like some Texan with steel-toed boots and everything. I was like,
it's oddly racist.
I don't know. It was...
It's oddly specific.
You saying that because I'm from the South? Like, you'd be...
That's oddly specific. All right.
Did you just misgender me?
Yeah, that's like if some Texan with steel-toed boots on. That's a very specific complaint.
I was just like dumbfounded by the whole thing.
That's different.
But what's your background? You boxed, right?
I boxed growing up, yeah.
And you hate yourself for not wrestling, right?
God, so I wrestled like my freshman year, half of my freshman year in high school. And I was like, this sucks. I'm going back to boxing. And now, like, in hindsight, I'm like, God damn it, I should have wrestled. So, yeah, like, so having to learn wrestling later in life has definitely been a pain in the ass.
It's a lot harder than learning boxing.
It's such, like, oh, man, like, learning to wrestle is so much harder than learning to box, I feel like. So that Definitely my biggest regret was not continuing with wrestling.
Really?
Yeah, like, oh man, life would have been so much easier.
It was just too hard?
It was always just miserable. Like,
Oh my
like wrestling was just miserable.
Oh.
And I was like a heavyweight too, so I was just like, this is terrible. Like, I don't
Were you
know.
big in high school?
I graduated at like 233.
Holy cow.
Yeah, that was big. Yeah.
Even as a freshman?
So I played football. So like, I think my freshman year I was like 220.
Okay.
Yeah, I was a big kid. Yeah. So like I was very very big. It just didn't make sense to me. Like starting as like a freshman, just nothing about wrestling made sense to me. I'm like, what? I should have done Greco. I just wanted to like pick people up and move them.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh no, you get like double and single. I'm like, why can't I just pick them up and slam them? Like, seems easier. So I wish we had Greco. I probably would have been good at Greco. Like that actually would have worked. Yeah.
This was in Ohio?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, normally the way that works is they do like freestyle or Olympic style after season.
Yeah,
and it's only like 2 days a week.
I should have stuck around. I should have learned Greco. I would have been good at Greco because I was just going to just throw people and lift people.
Right.
Like, oh no. I was like, oh, I sucked at wrestling. Yeah, it was rough.
That's funny that you quit.
Yeah, it's very, very. I was like, this is stupid. I'm not doing this anymore.
So what did do you have an amateur boxing career, then you went pro?
I boxed for a little bit. It's just like, for me, my mom wasn't really big on like allowing me to like compete. Mm-hmm. So I never got to have like a super crazy amateur boxing career. So I boxed as a kid, like, you know, but then as I got old, like a little bit older, like my junior year, I moved to Columbus.
Okay.
So I stopped, and then I moved back to Ohio. I went back to Cincinnati and as a senior. And then I moved out when I was 17. So I kind of wasn't really doing anything for like 2 years.
Right.
And I got a job at a video game store. And I went...
Like the perfect job for you.
Right. I keep working the game crazy. And
People don't know this. Chris Curtis is a huge nerd. We're going to talk about some movies.
I'm the most deadly nerd. I'm the most violent nerd you'll ever meet. Like, it's insane.
Are you excited about the Batman movie at all? Finish your story, and then we'll get back to that. Because I've got my own thoughts on it.
I've got some thoughts on the Batman. But my boss, actually, at the time, Zach, was a former pro boxer.
You can keep talking.
He's a former pro boxer, and he got me, he got me into training again. Then he found an MMA gym by the store we worked at. So that's when I started going up there to train, just to like go spar. And then I went there. I took like 3 classes, and I fought a month later.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, I fought like a month later. Yeah, then I've been doing it ever since.
Pro or amateur?
That was amateur. Yeah.
Okay.
I had 24 amateur MMA fights.
Why?
It's Ohio. It's what we did. Like, I had 24 amateur MMA fights. Like, I would fight like the Friday and Saturday. Like, yeah, we were wild, man.
Did you get in a lot of fights growing up?
Yes.
Okay.
Dude, I was always like, in that, there's like a point in like elementary school on the playground where everybody stops playing make-believe and wants to play like football and shit.
Right.
I was still there playing Power Rangers and Tekken by myself. Like, all I've ever wanted to do was fight. I used to go, like, as a teenager, like early 20s, I'd go around looking for fights. Like, I just loved fighting. I wasn't even like angry. I was angry, actually. I was really angry. But I just loved fighting, man. Like, any chance I got to fight, I would take it. Like, I absolutely love fighting.
Dang. Before the UFC called, because that was the Madison Square Garden card, right? You were supposed to fight Phil? Is that how that worked?
Well, I was supposed to fight him in Vegas.
Oh, okay.
Before that, so they called me on Thursday. Hilariously, after practice, I took like a freaking, like, I got like rocked in practice that day. So I was like, oh shit, like kind of like concussed. And they called me that night, like, hey, can you weigh in tomorrow and fight Saturday? And we were like, yeah. So I made weight. I was like, I just got done eating dinner. They called me. So I made weight that night. Weighed in the next day. And then Phil Hobbs, after I weighed in, he declined the fight.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So the UFC was like, well, since you made weight and everything else, they made him fight me at Madison Square Garden.
Oh, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it.
So like 3 weeks later, yeah.
So before they call you, like, what is your relationship with MMA at that point? Because I mean, you said before the PFL you were about done. Yeah,
at that point, man, like I said, like this year for 2022, I had the entire, like, it was pretty much I was going to either get 10 fights and get signed or walk away. So I was just trying to have fun with it, man. So, like, you know, I told my manager this, Lance. He's like, all right, man, like, you know, like, I'm not, he's like, I get it. So we were just going around getting fun fights. Like my entire 2022 was me. Well, 2021 was me getting fun fights. Like we fought some brawlers. We fought some. Like, went to Sinaloa, Mexico.
I know, that's what I meant. When you were going there.
Yeah, like which is like if you guys don't know, Sinaloa, Mexico is where El Chapo was from. Like one of the most dangerous places in the world for like American tourists. We fought in Sinaloa. We fought like in Utah. We fought like wrestlers. We fought brawlers. We fought like random people. We were just having fun, man. Like my entire goal is to just either 10 fights and have fun. Mm-hmm. So it was just I was just having fun with it, man. I was training. I had like a different camp. I switched to Extreme Couture full time. I had all my coaches going together. It was just fun, man. I was just having fun. I made it. I figured if it was my last year fighting, it was not going to be a job for me. It was going to be something I enjoyed. So
be more like a hobby that
it was just,
dedicated your whole.
I had fun, man. Like 2021, even before I got signed, it was just really fun for me. So it was nice. And then you kind of step back, take the pressure off, the expectations, just go out there and do it.
Yeah.
Having a good blast of a year, and then you get the phone call. You're like, oh shit, all right.
It's worked.
Yeah, it worked. Yeah.
Damn, man, that's cool. Well, before we start talking about Robert Pattinson, I want to transition to one of our sponsors for the episode, Flow Bottle. I know you've been looking at the bottle.
Yeah, I'm digging this.
Yeah, man. So my buddy gave this to me. It's the bottle with a twist, man. It's got a little spot for your coffee, your mouthpiece, your keys.
See, oh man,
it's pretty cool. I know.
That's badass.
Here, look at it. Check it out.
Yeah,
Tell us what you think. Be honest.
No, I was like, why? I've been like, what is going on here? This is nice.
Flow Bottle. So no, actually, the guy that gave that to me, he's a dentist, and he's big into jiu-jitsu. So he wanted to make like a bottle that you could put like all your stuff in,
yeah,
or your
actually
keys,
makes perfect sense.
money, and then your mouthpiece or whatever. That way, because jiu-jitsu is so like. It's just mouthpiece.
Well, that's the thing. You don't want to carry a gym bag in the jiu-jitsu if it's just you have your rash guard and stuff on. A lot of people carry a gym bag just for their keys and whatever.
Right.
But yeah, everything goes in the bottom. You're done. That's
a little product placement right there.
That's brilliant. Yeah, Flow Bottle, guys. Like that's actually brilliant.
The camera died, so we're all audio right now.
I'm like showing the label. This is actually a really good idea.
Flowbottle.com.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm gonna order one.
Go check it out. No, I love it. Yeah, I normally put my mouthpiece in there, like if I go to jiu-jitsu or something, and this is all I take.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I'm ordering one of those, honestly.
Flowbottle.com.
I'm down.
We didn't plan that, so.
Yeah, right, yeah, it's really, good product segue.
It was a great segue.
I was impressed.
That's my first one. All right, let's talk about Robert Pattinson as Batman. How do you feel? Because here's what my thing, when the trailer came out a year ago, and I hated it. I hated it. I hated the idea of Robert Pattinson being Batman. And I'm like, this is stupid. I'm not even going to go see it. Now I'm like, okay, take Robert Pattinson out of the trailer. This is the best looking movie of all time.
So you know how I justify... I'm a huge DC guy. I'm a huge Batman guy, of course. But
you play the Arkham games?
Yes.
I love the Arkham games.
The DC cinematic universe is just such a cluster of failure.
It's horrible.
So this will get me stoned in some places, but I was of the impression I didn't hate Batfleck.
I love him. Thank you.
I thought he was a good older Batman. He was a good weary Batman. Like I've been doing this.
Yeah.
You look at him with the lens of Batman, who's been doing this for so long.
Yeah.
In the comics, it really was the Dark Knight Batman. He's just like, guys, I'm old. I hurt. I've seen a lot of people die. I've seen things, my ideals be crushed. He's a very good, Dark Knight Batman.
And I'll say this too. I think he's the only one that's fit the bill of a traditional comic book Bruce Wayne.
Because so people don't realize, guys, Bruce Wayne is huge. Because Batman is huge.
6'2", 240.
Yeah, Batman's built like a linebacker.
Yes.
He's built like an Olympic. He's like a NFL linebacker.
He's basically Clay Matthews.
He's huge. And Ben Affleck got big for that role.
Huge.
So people realize, bro, Bruce Wayne is he's a large man. Batman's so I loved the Dark Knight trilogy for that, but I think Christian Bale was a terrible Batman. I think the Dark Knight trilogy was really made by the villains. Every movie is more remarkable for the villains and the supporting cast than Batman. I think the Batman the Dark Knight trilogy was a terrible Batman. Christian Bale was a really good Bruce Wayne. I think he was a terrible Batman.
The Batman suit was just weird. I mean, but I think you got to look at the times too. Like they couldn't do superhero movies are not like that anymore.
No, but the thing is, Batman's not that small. Like, and it always bothered me that Christian Bale's not a big man.
Have you seen? Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Have you seen his transformation from the American Psycho?
Yeah, to him going up and down. Like, the dude's just like a method actor of doom.
When Hollywood says that they just completely ignore the fact of steroids,
he's like double his size. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Like Jason Momoa, who's juiced up. Like, I'm pretty sure Ben Affleck was juiced up for Batman. Henry Cavill's been getting bigger for years.
Well, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean,
you can't, and we can't because we get tested.
Oh, the moment I retire, I'm going to be on the Russian Olympic protocol. I want the steroid box to where you open it and smoke comes out, steam comes out, it hisses, a vial rises on a fucking platform. At the moment I retire, I'm going to look like Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah,
Dead serious. I'm going to feel great. I feel miserable every day already. So the moment I'm done in this sport, I'm doing it I'm going to feel phenomenal.
Yeah, so it's going to be Marcellus Wallace's briefcase.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
just the shining over here.
It's going to be great.
It'll be
no, great. But I don't know, man. So I can accept Patterson in the fact that I am looking at the Batman, the new one, as a retcon of Batman Begins, where it's the origin, the early days. You ever see Batman Year One?
Yeah.
I look at it like that, to where it's early days. He's young. He's not as big yet. He's not as experienced. He doesn't have all the bat. You see,
his Batmobile is Camaro.
Right? So I figure Ben Affleck is when he's got money. He's been Batman. I'm designing bats, bat shit, because I've got time on my hands.
Right.
But this is okay, I'm going to be a young guy, okay, my first couple of years as a superhero, I've got this,
this is low budget Batman.
Yeah, it's right. He's
low budget Batman.
He hasn't figured out how much he can siphon from Wayne Enterprises yet.
Right.
So he's got a souped up Camaro.
He's like, what can I get that's not gonna draw much attention?
Older Batman's whatever, man. I got shell companies on top of shell companies. Yeah, he figured out how to launder money decades ago.
Right.
He doesn't care.
Yeah.
He's got underground bases everywhere. This is Batman in his basement. You know what? We can do this. I can do this. I got this. He's going for it. So I accept it. You know what? This is fine. This is Batman Begins told differently.
Yeah.
And from that, I'm fine. It helps me get over the fact that it's Robert Pattinson. So we were all smaller in our 20s, right? Weren't we?
Yeah, and we all made dumb decisions, but none of us played in Twilight. That's bad.
And that's my biggest thing. I've seen him in movies since then, and I acknowledge that Robert Pattinson has gotten better.
Is it Patterson or Pattinson?
Maybe Pattinson.
Who knows?
I don't care. He's British. I don't care.
I hope he's Bruce Wayne after this movie. I hope it's good enough to call him Bruce Wayne.
Yeah. So I've seen some of the stuff he's done since Twilight. He has become grown into being a much better actor than what I recall from the Twilight days. So I am excited for a Batman movie, but I go into this with low expectations.
Yeah.
There's some reservations, but I'm willing to be excited for it. The new trailers look good.
They do look good. Penguin looks cool.
Yeah, right. They've done.
Colin Farrell looks good as Penguin.
I'm excited because I watched my ex-fiance watched Gotham. And I've kind of gotten to Gotham a little bit.
I never got into
not a huge fan of most of the show, but around when you start beating the Joker stuff starts happening, they had a really good Joker in Gotham. They had a really good relationship between Riddler and Penguin, stuff like that. So there was some stuff I feel this movie took from that, and I'm excited.
What was the deal? Were they gay? Riddler and Penguin?
Yeah, they're heterosexual life partners, man. It's weird. I don't know. They're kind of gay, but then I don't really know how far it went. So I was never I kind of jumped into it during the entire Joker thing. Which honestly, Gotham had one of the best Jokers I've ever seen in my life.
That's what people have said. Yeah, that kid did a good job.
That kid was phenomenal. I don't remember what his name is, but that kid was that was a freaking phenomenal Joker.
He did a good job.
He did a really good job. I love that portrayal. So
yeah,
I'm okay. I'm willing to go into the Batman with
yeah.
I'm hoping it's good.
The problem is DC is trying to meet. I feel like DC's trying to meet Marvel where they're at now, as opposed to just going slow.
That's what DC. So here's the thing. Look at how the MCU was like put together, where you had years of Iron Man, then you had other stories,
Right.
like Guardians, all this stuff, and then it came together in Avengers, right?
Right.
DC had the Christopher Nolan Batman series trilogy, right?
Right.
Then they wiped that away. They cut all that, like, so retconned everything, new universe with Justice League. So there's been no build up. Like Marvel had Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, all of this, Ant-Man,
Right.
all of this all these people, separate stories came together
Right.
at a focal point. Marvel, DC is starting from that Justice
They
League.
did two
focal
movies.
point.
They did Batman v Superman. Or no, I'm sorry. They did Wonder Woman and Superman, and then they did Batman v Superman.
There's not enough reason to care. They
Yeah.
never gave anyone a reason to care.
Did you like the Snyder Cut? You don't, do you?
No, so I watched the Snyder Cut. I have a friend group back home, like my closest friends from back home. So we watched it on Zoom, and we spent 2.5 hours dying at the ridiculously of the Snyder Cut.
Really?
We spent 2.5 hours making fun of this movie. It was
What?
insane. Because why is humanity's only option for anything just bury it in a hole? Throughout, like, they buried the mother box the first time
Yeah.
when they got theirs. Cyborg goes back and buries it. Like, one guy throws a coat over it. I'm just like, why are we so bad? Like, our only option is to hide things. And then we hide things badly. I mean, there's so much in this movie that was just insane. I'm just like, oh my god, it's like, this is why they don't give Zack Snyder like giant budgets. Do what they'll give him free reign.
Yeah.
Because he just wiles out and like does Zack Snyder things. Like, I thought the Snyder Cut was ridiculous. I
Really?
enjoyed it. I thought it was ridiculous. Like,
Oh my gosh. I thought Darkseid was so cool.
Yeah, it's
And
much better Darkseid than Steppenwolf, for real.
I will say this. Maybe it wasn't the greatest movie. It was long. I thoroughly enjoyed it. But I felt like it was just the right thing for DC to revamp. And they're saying they're going to cut it. They're not doing anything.
I had my issues with the Snyder Cut, but if they're gonna really have a hope to do it's like the movie universe, that needs to be where, if you're gonna have a starting point, that has to be it.
Yeah.
Because it was, even for my issues with it and I'm making fun of it for 2 hours, it was a better version than the actual cut for sure.
Way better.
It actually had a coherent plot, which was nice.
Yeah.
And that was very, very nice. But I don't know, man. I think DC's got to give up on the combined cinematic universe. It's not gonna work, man.
Is the Batman going to tie into it, you think?
No, it's completely separate.
Because you know the Flash is there's gonna be multiple Flash, because this is gonna be like a Flashpoint,
Yeah, Flash, which
and they're bringing back Michael Keaton.
so the Flash movie makes me nervous
Michael
because I'm happy with.
Michael Keaton.
But how do you start the Flash movies at Flashpoint?
That's why I'm saying is they need to stop trying to catch up with Marvel.
Yeah, like
because
that's such a failure. Like, there's so much that is never going to be. So if you start the Flash movies at Flashpoint, you have to write out Zoom. Like, Zoom can't exist in this movie, who is an integral part of Flashpoint.
I think he is in this movie.
But how? Because he's never been brought up before.
Well, he's from the 31st century.
Yeah, but he exists in the Flash continuity. So part of Flashpoint is like we realize that Zoom had a big part of this. But if there's been no Flash movies and no introduction of Zoom, there's no history between Flash and Zoom.
Yeah.
Like, why are we starting at Flashpoint? Like, you've taken out one of the biggest relationships of Flashpoint.
Yeah, I think it just goes to show that they're trying to compete with Marvel where Marvel's at, and it's like Marvel took 22 movies to get where you're trying to get now.
And and they're gonna keep just butchering stories.
I'm so excited for the Doctor Strange movie.
Oh, dude, I love that Strange is getting.
They're bringing the X-Men into it.
So
That's crazy.
they're talking about Doom being in it.
Oh, really?
Doom is my favorite Marvel character. So I am excited to see like a real Doom. They're
That'll be
talking
cool.
about doing Doom justice and like letting Doom be shown as like the Doom's the greatest villain in Marvel. Like, Doom's
think so?
hands down the greatest. He's the greatest villain in Marvel.
I'm not gonna lie. When they brought Kang into Loki, did you watch Loki?
Yeah, I did
He
watch
was
it.
cool.
Kang was cool.
But
yeah.
he's gonna be. I think Doom is gonna be like the Ultron to like the Thanos, and Kang is going to be like Thanos.
Well, so
See what I'm saying?
here's a fun thing too, because they're talking about, if you go back to Infinity War,
Yeah.
because they said the tie-in was when Thanos talked to Tony Stark about being one of the people cursed with knowledge.
Yeah.
And the references that have been Stark, it's been Ultron, it's been Thanos, and Doom is possibly the people who knew what was going on with Infinity War, with everything happening in the universe. So they're talking about Doom being that last tie-in to where like he's someone who was making plans. And like, well, why wasn't he like involved in this? Because apparently it's going to be like talking about like, they're going to cover what Doom was doing, and
Right.
like, because the Skrull invasion is coming. It's one of the big things. So
Because Nick Fury is off-world.
yeah, Doom plays a big part in the Skrull invasion. He always has been. So like now they're talking about like he wasn't part of Infinity War because he was preparing for the Skrull invasion. So I'm like, ooh.
So is it going to be Doom from this universe or another universe? I'm guessing.
I think it'll be the cinematic. It'll be cinematic Doom, but like this will be his introduction. And he's like, no, like I was off like preparing for things bigger than like Thanos. He's like, there are things coming that like we aren't prepared for.
When Infinity War ended or Endgame ended, it felt like Marvel was going to be like, when you beat a video game and you got like all these side missions that are
right.
It's like very anticlimactic.
Yeah.
It felt like it was going to be like that.
Yeah.
And then they do Loki, and it's like, no, Kang the Conqueror is like the multiverse.
So
it's crazy.
I love in comics, Doom like depowers Kang like a couple times. Like Doom is the gooniest of goons. So in comics, he's run up on Kang a few times. So I'm wondering if in the cinematic universe, is Doom going to be the counter to Kang? Because in the comics, Doom has gotten Kang's ass a few times about like this is what Dr. Doom does. He runs up on people, he steals their powers, and he ruins people's plans.
What are Doom's powers? Because they don't explain it in the movies.
No, the movies do Doom no justice.
The movies are
so
horrible.
Doom is
Fantastic Four.
pretty much as smart as Reed Richards.
Okay.
He has his suit, which is like on par with Tony Stark's, and he's also a candidate for Sorcerer Supreme.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So in a few times in comics, like Doom was like the next in line for Sorcerer Supreme, and like
Really?
shit happens to where he gets whatever. But Doom is like a reality warping magician on top of being a genius and rolling around in like an Iron Man suit, like so. But his suit is powered by like a nuclear reactor, and instead of arc reactor, it's like a nuclear reactor and sorcery.
Oh my god.
So like he is like Tony Stark. It's like Iron Man had magic and was as smart as Reed Richards. It's Dr. Doom.
Did you see some of the theories that Tom Cruise is going to be like a variant Tony Stark? Did you see that?
That makes me sad. You know what? He could be Antonio Stark though.
Is that his son or something?
So Marvel does that weird thing to where like they have like the different
Right.
Earth.
Well, anytime they want to do another story, they just say this is another universe.
If you ever follow how the Extremist comics went, Tony has a brother who was smarter than him.
Oh wow.
But he was like crippled at birth. So he was kind of like hidden away or whatever. But it's like Anthony. I think it's like Antonio or Anthony. I think it's Anthony maybe. But he's like smarter than Tony. And they get back together and like he starts like, helping him do stuff and whatever. And he becomes an Iron Man as well. But his is like all like remotely controlled. But he's smarter than Tony actually.
Huh.
So he could just be a play on Tony Stark, Anthony Stark.
Because there's like a trailer. In the trailer, it looks like Captain Marvel. Not a great movie. But it looks like Captain Marvel, but people slowed it down and they zoomed in. And it's like, it looks, when you zoom in and look at it, because it's like it looks like a power, like whatever Captain Marvel, like the energy that Captain Marvel has.
Shit.
That's what it looks like. But then when they slowed it down, it actually, like, I think there's an arc reactor, and then it looks like Tom Cruise. So it's clearly not Captain Marvel.
That'd be interesting if Tom Cruise is a variant Tony Stark.
I don't know. Because there's a variant of, like, there's like a 31st century Iron Man that's like a mixture of Vision and Iron Man.
Dude, I mean, so like if you look at the Incursion storyline, to where you had it was a storyline to where you had the main Marvel universes and the Ultimates was like a rebranding they did for all their stuff. There's a storyline to where both of those different realities were coming together
Yeah.
and being destroyed. So like you had like different Iron Man, you had like different like 2 different Tony Starks or like different like whatever. You had all these universes like coming together in the singularity and destroying them. Because like that entire storyline was amazing because it had the single coolest moment I've seen in Marvel Comics. Actually had some of the coolest moments ever. Like Hyperion. It's like Marvel's Superman.
Okay.
Like these are like universes colliding together, right? And like he literally held 2 universes apart for like an extended period of time, like physically.
Oh my gosh.
Pushed 2 universes apart to try to stop them. You have stuff like that. You had stuff like Thor dies.
Oh man.
Thor and Hyperion become like really good friends, and at one point they end up fighting the Beyonders, and they're like, oh, you have no more hope to beat us. And they're just like, all right, man, like whoever kills the most wins. And you just see them like go fight the Beyonders and get killed. But it's like one of the coolest scenes ever.
Really?
To where you see them fighting, you see Hyperion like create like a sun in his hand and go Nova. And then like the last panel, you see like Thor call down this lightning bolt, and then he's just gone. And like it's like incinerates like himself or something. It's the entire like one of the greatest storylines ever. Like one of the best parts I remember was you have like everybody's at Kingpin's Tower, all the villains are at Kingpin's Tower watching the end of the world, and all they're still watching it. When the door ring, the elevator rings, they look over, and Punisher walks in. You have all these unarmed villains like, what the fuck? And Punisher's like, man, it's the end of the world. I got all these bullets. It'd be a shame to waste them.
Oh,
and you just see like gunshots.
Just
like,
mows
that's the end of it. Like, it never goes back to it. He just walks into a building with like armored machine guns and a bunch of unarmed supervillains, and you just see like gunshots, and it never goes back to it. It's just like it's a very, very, very crazy storyline. It was awesome.
One of the coolest parts in Spider-Man, the new No Way Home, for me, was when you see Daredevil and you start to realize, oh my gosh, they're going to bring Punisher in, they're going to bring Daredevil in. He catches that brick.
I was so excited by like them. Like, and it wasn't like a watered down Daredevil. It wasn't the Matt Murdock from the show,
right?
Which makes me happy because I'm like, bro,
I love Daredevil.
I love it. I think John Bernthal is a great Punisher. So like, possibly seeing him in a Punisher in a Marvel movie is gonna be great because like I love new Punisher. Like I was a Thomas Jane guy, but I love John Bernthal's Punisher. I think he's a very good Punisher. So
yeah, it's interesting. Honestly, though, the movie that I'm most excited about this year, Lightyear.
Oh, dude! Like, so
I love Buzz Lightyear.
I thought that was a joke at first. And I saw it, and I was like, "Holy shit!
It looks good.
This is good. What?
It looks good.
Why is this a thing?" But thank you.
It looks so good.
Yeah,
I was a huge Buzz Lightyear was like Toy Story was big when I was like 3 or 4.
Yeah, right.
So like I'm seeing all these Marvel movies, all these DC movies, and I'm like, bro, just bring me Lightyear. Like
Bro,
Lightyear.
Lightyear looks awesome. I want to see that. And I want to see Morbius.
Morbius?
Yeah. Morbius is gonna be interesting because that's actually supposed to tie into the whole Blade thing, which is gonna be an interesting reboot.
What's the deal? What universe is Morbius in? Because it references Venom, but it also references Spider-Man, and they're not in the same universe yet.
So no, they are now because of No Way Home.
I know that, but Venom is not like a part of it. He's just at the end.
So here's my theory. I think with No Way Home, I think like how there was the breach that allowed like Eddie Brock to come through.
Yeah.
I think you're going to see a lot more breaches in future movies. To now we've established the multiverse and how like fragile the reality boundaries are.
Right.
I think you're going to see a lot more crossovers. I think they're going to end up that universe is going to bleed into this one.
Well, and it's going to have to, right? Because Eddie Brock was the only one that didn't know Spider-Man's identity that it showed coming in. So it's like, there's got to be more, right?
I have no doubt either they're going to get moved to this universe or the universes are going to be merged.
Anything can happen.
Anything can happen now. Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness, I think they're going to merge the Sony universe, Marvel universe with the main Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Well, then the X-Men universe, like
that's the thing. It's like because like the Sony has Marvel, they have Spider-Man, they have Morbius, Venom, and X-Men.
Do they have Fantastic Four too?
They do have Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
So I think the Multiverse of Madness. I think the entire point of this is to merge those two universes.
it looks like Professor X is on some like multiversal council or something.
He's supposed to see Illuminati.
It's what?
Professor X is part of the Illuminati. It's Professor X, Tony Stark, Strange, Bruce Banner, Black Bolt. I'm sure I'm missing people I know. But yeah, there's the
Bill Gates.
Yeah, right. There's the Illuminati Council. Because like that created like an entire storyline because they do a lot of like messed up stuff.
Right.
But their actions led to the World War Hulk storyline, which is one of the coolest storylines in comics.
Yeah.
Where like Hulk just thrashes the entire like universe.
Doesn't he kill everybody and then they send him to that planet?
Well, he freaks out, so they send him to like a different planet.
So Sakaar, that's kind of how 4-3 happened,
yeah,
right?
so
that's part of that.
In real life, he takes over that planet. He becomes the World Breaker.
Yeah.
And then the Illuminati like freaks out, kind of. So they blow up the planet.
Oh my gosh.
He survives, but it costs him his wife and like kids.
Right.
And some of his kids. So he leads them back to Earth, and he literally starts a war against the entire planet.
Slaughters everyone.
And he beats the shit out of everybody.
It'll be cool. I personally want to see old Thor.
Yeah,
I want to see an old Thor. I think that would be cool. I hope they delve into it. There's a cool Thanos storyline where Thanos is like, he wins. He's got like Bruce Banner's dead. He's got Hulk as a pet. He had just killed Thor.
Oh, yeah.
It's like 1,000,000 years in the future.
Yeah.
Frank Castle is Ghost Rider and Punisher at the same time, and that's like his butler. It's just crazy.
Sometimes you win.
Sometimes you win. Sometimes the bad guy wins.
Sometimes you win, right? It happens.
I was Team Thanos all the way. I thought it would have been cool if he would have won.
It would have been. I mean, he did technically win initially.
Right.
Yeah, damn space magic.
Yeah. Well, hey, brother, I'm going to let you out of here. But before I do want to ask, what are your thoughts on the Joe Rogan situation? If you don't mind talking about it.
It's
gotten political, but it really isn't.
So part of Joe Rogan, you can acknowledge Joe Rogan he probably overstepped, and it happens. People overstep. Me personally, this isn't the worst thing I've ever heard.
Are you talking about the N-word thing?
Yeah, is that what we're talking about?
I was just talking about the whole situation in general. I haven't even seen the N-word. What
else am I missing, man?
Well, just the cancel culture aspect of it. What's the N-word thing? What happened? Was it a comedy bit that he did?
There's just like different like a podcast he was talking about. He's like he's talking or whatever.
Right.
And Joe Rogan is never calling anybody. He's referencing it, and so I understand what he's saying. He's using it in context, as for whatever. He's not throwing it at anybody. He's like using it instead of saying the N-word, he would just say it like in context.
Right.
And he's like, well, I'm using it in context. I'm not insulting anyone.
It'd be like if I said, hey, I heard somebody call somebody else.
He's using it in context. I'm like, bro, like, we're adults. It's a word. Like, for me personally, I'm like, I think it's ridiculous. Like, it's like, you can say you overstepped and fine, whatever. Maybe he's too comfortable with it. But like, I'm like, Joe Rogan was never insulting, attacking you or anyone else. Like, he's being used in context. I'm not upset by it.
Right.
The entire cancel culture of Joe Rogan in general, though, it's weird. Because I think as you get to a certain level of fame, I think you do have a responsibility to kind of like beware of what you say.
Right.
Even if you say something that like in like a half serious manner, or you have to be aware that when you say things, even if you're like, oh, well, he's like, you can't. A favorite example, you can't tell people that like a horse dewormer cures COVID. Period. Because there are things that go into that, like dosages, certain test groups, everything else. But when you say things like that and leave it, you have people who take what you say as...
That's not what he...
I'm saying, to this example, though, I'm just saying there are things that, like, you have to be aware of what you say and how it's presented, because there are people out there who take what you say at face value, and they're not going to dig deeper. They're like, you're a trusted source, you said this, so I say that. So I think he's just got to be aware that, like, when he says certain things, it's not his fault for real. There's a subgroup of people who take what you say at face value.
Right.
And like, so it kind of sucks to be responsible for the idiocy of others, but like once you reach a certain point, you've got to be careful, because like your word becomes law to certain people.
Well, he didn't say horse D-word. It was CNN.
Well, just whatever the hell he was saying.
Ivermectin.
Yeah. Like there are things to where like with that being used as possible treatment,
Right.
there's a lot of asterisks in there.
Right.
And when you don't cover those asterisks, or you go into detail or tell people, like, hey, there are these asterisks,
This is what I took. Yeah.
stupid people are going to be like, okay, cool,
Yeah.
that's what I'll do. So you just have to be aware of, like, the things you say. Like,
Right.
it's fucking America. You should be able to, if he believes it works, like, hey, that should be his opinion, whatever.
Right.
Totally fine. You shouldn't be able to say, hey, shut up, like, I don't want to hear that.
Right.
You just have to be careful that you have to really emphasize
Put a warning label on
exactly what, because it's, we put warning label on fucking soap, on shampoo,
Right.
not to drink it.
It'd be like if I said, "Oh, I went in the sauna for 30 minutes and cleared my flu up," and somebody goes and does it and dies.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, like, yeah, I was taking breaks and I had water, and
Or I'm used to doing it.
Yeah, there's a lot of things. So I think he takes a lot of heat because there are a large subset of stupid people in the world.
Right.
And like when you don't give clear directions, which is why everything you buy has clear directions.
Right.
Because we've since realized that the dumb among us will find a way to like ruin
Yeah.
everything. So he's got to be more mindful of what he says and like how it's presented.
Yeah, I see that argument. I think the big problem is the media, mainstream, Fox, CNN, everybody. It's so bad.
All news is biased. Like it's all news is going to be biased. Like because I've never met a truly impartial person in my entire life. All news, it's not possible.
Right.
By nature of being human, you'll have certain preferences and biases and whatnot. So all news is going to be biased. I think the media, left and right, has lost its goddamn mind. Its mind. These last few years, going too far out left and right to where now you can't watch. It's weird when you can't watch news anymore without having to wonder how far skewed this is and like just how factual it is. I feel like this wasn't something in history we had to worry about to this degree.
Yeah.
You always have to have skepticism, but like now you can't turn on any news source without wondering how far skewed it is.
Right.
And like the fact that like we as a country have allowed this to be acceptable is absolutely insane.
There's just lies on both ends, and the thing that bothers me, like I'm a pretty conservative guy, like Christian conservative, like that's just like
I'd say I'm like more like middle liberal, like
yeah. I mean, and there's some things like I just don't compromise. Like I'm very pro-life, like very pro-life, pro-speech, or pro-free speech to a degree, as far as like you're not threatening or causing acts of violence or stuff.
Yeah, you're allowed to. Like I mean, like it's so weird. So here, like we get along great, and we have very different political leanings, and it's fine because like I think we lost the ability to like disagree, but still try to find some form of common ground. I tend to be very pro-life, pro-choice. I mean,
Sure.
I'm very pro-choice. Like I believe when people have choices, but also have a lot of friends who are pro-life and understand like that, like where that comes from. So like there's, I think just at this point in time in like the world, man, like it's people are too desperate to draw like battle lines.
Right.
And as long as like I think the media kind of does that too. They make you kind of like say you're on this side. There's no room for understanding. So once you draw battle lines, man, like what do you like? What naturally comes with drawing a line in the sand? A fight.
Right.
Like you're attacking or when you draw lines in the sand, you're attacking or defending.
Yeah.
There's no negotiations. Like there's no like treaty. Once there are lines in the sand, you are instigating. You're either attacking or defending. There's going to be a fight.
Yeah.
And that's just where we are with the media. So.
It's unfortunate, man, and I think the media should learn from Joe. They should learn because he's not putting out news. He's having conversations and letting people listen to it. That's the big thing too.
That's the thing is the art of conversation is dead.
Yeah.
And like unfortunately, like we were born in a time when the art of exchange and kind of the exchange of ideas and conversation had died because it's my way is right and. Where it used to be people would speak and try to understand, have this conversation. Now, I think because of like the media and social media and everything else, we just have echo chambers to where I can go somewhere where people agree with me. Yeah. Or you're shouted down and like there's no. Before you kind of had to come to an understanding.
Right.
And now you can just shout someone down or like go find your own echo chamber that's left or right leaning. Everybody is in it like, yeah, you're right, and fuck them.
F that guy.
And
yeah.
now there's no reason to like try to understand.
Right.
Because you have a legion of people who will agree with just you.
Right.
And it's unfortunate, man.
It's unfortunate.
Like, it's very unfortunate.
Like, I mean, and you just expressed, and I'm going to let you go here, man. I don't know your timelines or anybody, but, and you just expressed, like, one of the core things for me politically is, like, okay, who's voting on the side of, like, pro-life, pro-choice, right? And you just expressed a difference, like, an opinion on that. My main, like, goal and objective, like, I'm a Christian first. Like, that's my thing, right?
Yes.
And so, like, me shouting you down and being a dick to you because we differ on something, like, we can differ on this, but like you're still my brother, man. Like, I still love you. Like, we go to the gym every day.
Yeah, there's no reason that we have to be 100% in agreement on things.
Right.
And like, honestly, and that's as it should be, to where if we don't agree on something, if we can talk about it, my bad.
No, you're good, bud.
Let's see who's calling me, actually. Who is this?
It's Buckley. We got to talk to him about his dust crap.
I don't know who the fuck that is.
What kind of phone do you have?
Oh, dude, I balled out. Like,
Oh my goodness! Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, right. Like, I got the Z Fold 3. Like, yeah, like,
Holy
I bought
cow.
myself one nice thing.
There you go.
Oh, I love this thing.
That's awesome.
But yeah, you know, if we don't see eye to eye, I think, like, let's figure out why. Let's figure out, like, what the opposing values are, and
Right.
like, you know, like, sometimes there isn't middle ground, but a lot of times there can be. But
Right.
like, it's just a matter of getting there. And I think honest conversation is the only way that happens. And like,
Right.
you know, honest exchange of ideas, it's just not a thing anymore.
Right. Well, Chris Curtis,
Thank you, brother.
Appreciate you,
Hey,
buddy.
I'm glad we got to do this finally.
It was-
We've been trying to do this for a while.
it was fun to have a long notice podcast. with you.
Dude, we've been like trying to do this for a while now. My schedule's always ridiculous.
No worries, brother. No, I appreciate it. And, I mean, I'm busy too, man. Like, it's, you know,
Yes.
it is what it is.
Vegas is just a busy place for everyone in general.
You inspired me, though, because I will start doing more podcasts at home. Before, I thought with one microphone I was limited to just doing Zoom.
Nah, dude, like, screw it. Like, what?
Yeah.
Dude, just hang out. Like, dude, we'll get a coffee pot. Like, it'll be great.
Oh, go watch the fights right here.
no,
Commentate.
have fun. Yeah, no, you don't gotta do this crazy big setup, man.
No.
Like, everybody does that. Like, have something fun.
Use
man.
what you got.
Have
So-
something fun, unique to you. This is fun. This is cool. This is fun.
Yeah, no, it was cool. So I appreciate it, man. Thank you for coming.
No problem at all, brother.
Everybody else, leave me alone. Don't bother me. Have a good day. Bye.